1, 2. That's West Patrick.
Hey, good morning, all of the people on PST. But hey, if you're in the EST, good afternoon and happy Father's Day. How's it going, pups?
Yeah, it's very good, thanks. And BST as well. Come on.
Oh yeah, you know what?
Come on.
For all the 5 supporters of the Paris Eternal, happy Father's Day. Because the London Spitfire are on a real EU team, right?
Whoa. Come on, man.
Oh
Let's
my goodness.
They're my boys, okay? They're my boys.
All
you can't
right.
be talking about them like that. I should be putting my London Spitfire shirts
Hey,
on. Right?
I'm
Although I haven't seen Stage 3, so I don't know how they're doing. I'm trying to catch up.
they're not doing too badly. But who has time for Overwatch League when we have this incredible tournament in front of us right now? It's honestly, I don't understand why we don't get even more views. For all of you that are tuning in right now when you could be spending time with your parents or your dad or any other father figure in your life, you're watching us. And for that, you're champions. Puppy, how are you celebrating Father's Day? Do anything fun? Or is that like an America-only thing only?
No.
Okay.
Do you know what the funny thing is? So you have a different Mother's Day to us, but you have the same Father's Day to us, which is really strange. I don't know why you celebrate Mother Days on a different. It's not really like it's just like a made-up holiday. Oh, we should say thank you to our people all the time anyway. So, but yeah, no, my dad actually is away at the moment. He's traveling around Europe in his camper van with my mum and my dog. So yeah, they're loving life at the moment. So
I was about to say, it sounds like your dad's having like a better life than you are right now.
He really is. He really is. But he's retired, so he's allowed. You know, he's had to put up with me for the past like 26 years now. So
you're 26, pup.
I am 26.
You look 25.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
In any case, hey, post over in Twitch chat or in the confession box how your Father's Day is going, or hey, like just whatever your folks are up to. We're just gonna get straight into more or less the news. Let's start up with the upper division schedule. Whooshy transition. Great. Welcome back. So we didn't have these incredible graphics made last week, so we're just going to go over the last 2 weeks of the Upper Division Season 4 schedule. 05 heads took the 4-0 over Lightbringers Leftovers. We're going to be able to sort of dive into that game a little later with Coach Tactical, as well as took a 3-1 over Single Woman in Your Area. Skyhounds went 3-1 over Seven Sins. That was an upset that I didn't exactly see coming. Murky Cougars went 3-1 over Night Ops. But I mean, to clap back, Night Ops also 3-1 over Seven Sins, and to round it out, Skyhounds also taking the 4-0 over Lightbringers Leftovers. A couple of these games, real quick, are in blue, and if this seems confusing, I'm sorry. The games that are in blue currently have yet to be played, and also brings me to my first piece of news for the morning. If you're on one of these teams and you haven't played these games yet, we will be having a delay week. That's this coming week for you to iron out all those games. And if you aren't able to, have those games happen, it will be treated as a forfeit from those who first requested the delay to begin with. So please play those games. We definitely want to see more Overwatch. We definitely want to see some more incredible gameplay on the board. let's talk about these standings for a second.
It's going to be an interesting week for Swea then, because they've got 3 outstanding games. They're going to have to play a lot of Overwatch.
I mean, you know,
take some real strategy there to get that scheduling sorted. I'm not gonna
lie. I'm confident in their squad though. I feel like if Swea Academy is anything to talk about over in lower division, who are at the top of their game right now. I mean, we know for a fact that the administration behind the entire sort of like Swea family isn't terrible, right? I mean, they got to be doing something right, that's for sure. I have confidence in the Swea squad to at least get a couple of these games under their belt. But damn, is it a good day to be a Skyhounds fan? Like early on in the season, a lot of people were writing off Skyhounds as not a playoff team, myself included. And now here we are, Skyhounds, perhaps with a newly reformed roster. We will be interviewing David, which is the team captain from Skyhounds, a little later today, taking the 3-1 over Seven Sins. Now Seven Sins is a team that's been really, really cohesive throughout the entire season. You know, having a they were number 2 in the standings early on in the season. Now dropped down to number 4. I mean, a lot of games have yet to be played, but I'm really excited to see, you know, if Skyhounds can pull off an upset. I don't know what the screenwriters have in store. What do we think about playoffs going in?
It's a real mixed bag at the moment. Like, I mean, upper division, it's very much, it's kind of, there's a lot of chopping and changing that could happen over the next next week or so, especially since, like you already said, Skyhounds have 2 games in hand, which could upset that kind of bottom
right
of the playoff contention. So it'd be interesting to see, and I'm definitely keen to watch both those games, especially as a sort of representative of the Mercury Cougars.
Of course,
so it's going to be interesting to see exactly who those guys are playing against. I think I'd like to think that Mercury Cougars are in there. Like I'm saying that with some confidence, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty locked in. But we don't want to say it just yet. It's not mathematically locked. So
it is possible. Wait, no, it's not possible. Is it? Mercury has 1 game left. Even if they were to lose it, knock on wood, right? It'd be 4-3. But then even if Skyhounds won both of their games, bringing their sort of their game record to a 5-2, that means Seven Sins would be pushed out. So whether Mercury Cougars is 3rd seed or 4th seed is remain to be seen. If Skyhounds gets into the playoffs, remain to be seen. But it's possible. What's not possible...
The game in hand.
What's not possible is O5 Heads and Night Ops being unseeded from their number 1 and number 2 seed positions. I think, and that's because even if Skyhounds does get the 5-2, which is on par with Night Ops, they wouldn't be able to play enough games between those two to get past that +11 map differential that Night Ops has so nicely cultivated for themselves. So these upcoming games are going to decide who O5 Heads and Night Ops are going to play for the playoffs. Just to review playoffs, number 1 seed versus number 4 seed, 2 and 3, the winners of both of those battle off for the championship. Similar structure over in lower division. And my, what a week of lower division has it been. Whooshy transition. Great. Hello. Welcome back. We're here at the beginning of week 6, lower division. Real quick, gonna go over just the past 2 weeks because these wonderful graphics weren't here before. Night Ops Academy going 2-1-1 over Seven Sins Academy, and then Swea Academy with 2 quick 4-0s. They're looking at the top of their game right now. Saturn Snow Leopards and Seven Sins Academy as their opponents. It's a bad day to be a Seven Sins Academy fan. My heart breaks seeing this. But nonetheless, Swea looking at the top of the game right now, coming in at sort of like the halfway point of this season. What are we thinking?
Again, it looks kind of very similar to the upper division, doesn't it? With those top 2 teams being so dominant, and the rest of the field kind of maintaining that kind of ability to shuffle up and down as we see over the next couple of weeks. So
right,
very, very close. And with the 4 teams going into playoffs, that's 2/3 of the actual league that go through. So
right,
you can count yourself very, very unlucky or very unfortunate.
Yeah.
or just not performing. Whatever you decide.
Yeah.
The bottom two teams. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Definitely.
Yeah.
I haven't really had much time to actually follow much of the lower division.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely want to kind of see them a little bit more, see the games a little bit.
Yeah. By the way, hey, lower division, if you have any VODs of recent games, please send them over to either myself or Puppy. It's always fun to sort of like review those before each podcast, and just so we can talk more about you guys, talk more about the teams, talk more about the players and the things that make Overwatch Pretenders great. Another thing to talk about regarding lower division, some of you may be aware of the very hot-headed, we're going to interview him later, conversation going on in a channel only open to lower division players called Lower Division Poll, where there's a poll going on about how long you want the off-season to be. Now, traditionally, upper division has always sort of preferred a shorter off-season. I guess we just don't like that sort of, like off time. We don't like, just kind of waiting around, which has been historically a problem in the past. I'm just going to kind of be transparent about that. But it seemed like that sort of waiting period and that sort of opportunity to still build that team synergy was a lot more valued, perhaps in the lower division. So if you're on that side of the fence, there's a poll going on if you want either a longer off season or a shorter off season. Be sure to participate in that poll, lower division players only. And yeah, I mean, it just gives the staff team a lot more, like a bit more of an introspective look on what people want. And I mean, what is a community without its people? So and just be sure to participate in that poll. In the meantime, what do you think about it? Let us know. Confession box, Twitch chat, on if you want a higher or a larger off season or shorter off season. Now, Puppy, I'm gonna field this question to you real quick. When you were with MC, what sort of situation would you want? Like, would you want a shorter off season? Would you want a longer off season? Because I can really see the pros and cons of both. I should say post season. Sorry about that, Matt.
Sorry. Yeah, this is the postseason. I can completely understand, especially in this current meta, why people want it to be short, because at the moment, a lot of people only find enjoyment when they're playing in the league or in the games. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm kind of struggling to find a lot of enjoyment out of playing ranked at the moment.
Right.
I think that's kind of like what keeps people interested.
There we go.
In playing Overwatch. So I think it's definitely a valid point bringing it kind of to a shorter post season, but I can also see the other end of the side of things where you want a bit more time to potentially those sort of lower down teams that are not quite kind of form that cohesion and maybe want to make some changes to their rosters or stuff like that, or if people feel like they're just going to play out to the end of the season and then quit, then you need that time to kind of to find new players, especially since such an abundance of players in the Overwatch Pretenders server that it takes a lot of time to sift through this. So I can completely understand why people want season. So it's a bit of a, like you say, it's kind of it's whatever you prefer really, and so we'll see what comes out of it.
Yeah,
I personally would prefer a shorter one.
A shorter one. Yeah, I can't help but think that this was also a problem that was amplified by the fact that we have desynchronized schedules. So before last season, lower division, upper division schedules were synced, as in we had 10 teams in upper division, 6 teams in the lower division, and the schedules matched up surprisingly pretty well. So I think it was we had to split into 2 divisions, and we had sort of like a 5-week session where we just had Division 1, Division 2, lower division, all with a 5-week system. And I think a lot of people like that, so that we could line up playoffs, we could line up a lot of these all-star games, we could start off on the same time. And this time, when we desynchronized schedules, lower division has a 10-week long season this time, and we started 2 weeks after the upper division. So the upper division then, if it were still synchronized, would have to wait 7 weeks, which is ridiculous. That's 2 months in the middle of summer. Who's gonna wait that long? But I mean, you know, I feel like hindsight's 2020. Perhaps if we had only like a 5-week schedule, kind of like before, those things could be mitigated. But hey, what do you think? Let us know. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about it, really. It's a tricky situation for everyone involved, and like we're always squabbling about it over in staff server, but that's because, you know, we care and we want to make sure it's the best for you guys.
Yeah, I think the either way that you're gonna find that they're gonna be desynchronized, whether or not you get unless you get that, like, the exact same amount of teams in both divisions, you're always gonna have, you either play each other twice, or you kind of and have like a longer season that over shoots the end of the upper division season, or you have like a smaller amount of people. And
if y'all are keeping up with server updates, real quick, art contest got an extension over to next Sunday. So because our server did get nitro boosted a few too many times, thank you, please continue to do so. We're this close to getting 10 boosts, this close. Then we do have a custom splash screen. So we're holding an art contest. So if you want your art to show up whenever someone gets invited to Overwatch Pretenders, please go ahead and submit that. And if we get enough boosts that we get sort of like our private icon in like the top left, or sort of a private photo, then hey, we'll have an art contest for that too. Yeah, get your submissions in. It'll be a fun time, and we're gonna have voting, and it'll be a grand old time. But I know for a fact that a couple people are going to enter. Puppy, you're one of them. You're an artist, right?
No.
Oh my goodness.
Terrible. Well, if you call music, then yes. Well, I used to be. I'm not as good as I used to. I enjoy music.
I'm not a big visual art guy in terms of like actual drawing, like graphic design. I'm okay at, so I might put something together. I know I'm very much like breaking out my medium, but I am an entrant in this contest. Just saying, vote for Bears. So hey, there you go.
Hey, exploiting your position.
Hey,
this is not fair.
Listen,
level playing field here.
This
no,
is how
stuff. It looks really good.
This is how I got an all-star game the first season. I was in OWP. I used this podcast. Hello newcomers. And yeah, let's see, art contest, lower division poll, hey, participate in that. And upper division, yo, play your games. What are you doing? Oh my gosh. And before we just get into our first interview over with David, that's the captain of Skyhounds, I want to take a bit of a departure, talk about the current meta. And the meta right now is Sombra Goats. And I don't know who is paying the screenwriters of Overwatch League to say that Houston beat San Francisco Shock in a map 5, which is absolutely ridiculous. Oh my goodness, is that a spoiler? Oh my goodness, Puppy, I'm so sorry.
It's fine. I'll get around to it at some point. It's probably going to be another like 3 weeks. So
my goodness.
I'm not going to avoid all spoilers.
Okay. Well,
I admit, it's fine.
Well, rather, if I were to ask you of a snapshot of your games up in Masters, would you say that you're seeing a lot more Sombra Goats now more than not, or what?
No.
No?
Literally, it's chaos, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I guess ranked is ranked,
Wrecking Ball constantly. Like, people love Wrecking Ball. Orisa's obviously getting picked a lot more because of her buffs. So you're seeing a lot more of that, and a lot more Bunker you get to see a few times.
Yeah.
But people are just checking in.
Just all over the place, right?
I'll play Symmetra, and we'll do some random wacky strats. I played a game on stream the other day with this Symmetra, who, bless her, did a fantastic job of communicating. But
you play with Metra?
Strategies were terrible.
Nice.
Sorry?
You played with Metra?
Symmetra. No,
Symmetra.
Symmetra. Sorry.
Okay. No, fair enough.
Yeah, it was a bit unusual.
I was lucky enough to play with IDDQD in a comp game because he was doing like an unranked to GM Smurf stream.
Really?
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I mean, we won. I don't know what to say." I'm pretty sure there were like,
yeah, of course.
Pretty sure there were two Smurfs on the other team as well. So I mean, hey, there's that. But I need to turn off my phone. To answer your question, whoever DM'd me, I have no idea. So hopefully you're listening and you're able to get that. But yeah. So I feel like Sombra Goats is now sort of, like edging its way back into the meta, or just the use of Sombra in general. We saw what XYS did like 1v3 against Sevensons during that match, so I know she isn't exactly going anywhere. We've also seen a lot of Sombra Doomfist. It's like Hackfist comp that a lot of people are calling is like the new Goats killer, just because like EMP and always diving the backline because it's filled with these squishy supports is a good strategy to employ. And frankly, I'm a fan of like EMP Nanoblade to like very routinely clean up goats. Like that's my preferred sort of weapon of choice. But I mean, are people as sick of goats as the data seems to suggest, Puppy, over in your games?
I think yeah. I think that's a kind of. I mean, you only have to kind of sort of suggest it once in rank to kind of like gain a understanding of exactly what people think of it, to be honest.
To gain the IRL version of a Discord orb on your fucking computer.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just yeah. People don't like it. People don't like playing it. People don't plan playing against it. I don't know what Blizzard is doing. Fix your damn game. Like people are. Well, I don't know how many people. It feels like people are fed up, and I've lost far too many friends to this damn game. Of just like,
I thought you were gonna say you lost far too many games to goats, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
More sorry than that than me losing friends over the game.
Listen, I just anticipated that conversation going in a drastically different direction. But I mean, yeah, and exactly. Nas was saying, Nas was saying like Clockwork Vendetta. Like, have you been following them at all?
No.
So
I've heard all about this. What is this Clockwork thing?
Okay.
I've tried to find it and I can't. I don't know what it is.
Okay, so you should definitely check out Action Esports' video on this. But basically, I believe they're an Open Division team that slammed through Open Division, that slammed through Contenders Trials, and is now like going to be in, I believe, EU Contenders, playing. Get this, Roadhog, Orisa, May, Torbjorn. Either a Zen Mercy and I believe an Ana. Correct me if I'm wrong, but basically the idea is and get this, they're all one tricks.
Really?
My bad. Not all one tricks. I can't say that, but a lot of them like to specialize on like a singular hero. Tegu just said they already had their first match of Contenders. How did they do? Did they do well? Who's it against? And did they win? And that's. It's absolutely insane because they completely just stuck to what they were good at rather than what was meta, and they just rolled every Goats team that they came across.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a Hog, Orisa. So obviously you got like a good synergy there.
May, Torbjorn.
May and Torb. Okay, Torb obviously synergized quite well with the Hog Orisa type stuff.
Yeah.
The May.
Yeah.
That's the kind of. I think everything else would be like fairly okay, but the May just seems like a. It's just that. Go on.
Oh, forgive me. I think the idea was that they used AoE ults to contest for an abnormally long amount of time, whether it be like Molten Core, whether it be Blizzard, or whether it be like Orisa's Bongo, or just Hog's ult just pushing people off point. And they were able to like always like be like have like an upside on the ult advantage by like just wearing people down.
Well, you look at stuff like Holt, you look at stuff like Whole Hog, and you look at Amazel. They're all really, especially going into like last few fights of like a map when you're kind of like down to the bitter last few fights. They're ults that you want to go into the stage. So I can completely understand their kind of idea around. Interesting comment. I've heard people say it in ranked.
It's yeah, people tell me in ranked and to justify their picks too, right? But I know that there were a lot of teams that tried to play something like Double Sniper Pharah or like something to break it, and there were cracks in the facade of Clockwork Vendetta and their comp, but nonetheless, I mean, they've definitely made a name for themselves, that's for sure. And frankly, I hope they do well for the meme potential alone. for lack of a better term.
They are kind of relying a lot on maybe a lot of individual plays throughout that. And apart from obviously the whole combos, you're looking at individuals to come up with plays.
I think they were relying a lot on other teams not knowing how to play against them.
Yeah,
Right.
I suppose with the sort of meta that's been dominated by goats and dive and all these different types of comps, this kind of like solo queue ranked type stuff where you get all these random jumble of heroes. Sometimes we all do it. We all sit in ranked, and then you play against this like random comp, and you're like, how do I even play against this?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's any different for players that are at the top of the game. You get chucked something that's complete curveball. I mean, you look at do Hunters, they do the exact same thing in Overwatch. They chuck in like 4 DPS or something ridiculous, and you're like,
what's going on? It's working. Unlike
Exactly.
Clockwork Vendetta, who recently lost their last game against HSL. Thank you for the stats, by the way. We instead have the captain of a, right now, just sort of on top of their game, Skyhounds, David. Hey, come on in. Hi, how are ya? And just while we're getting everything set up, do you want to quickly introduce yourself? And you are muted, my friend.
Rip.
Press F to pay respects. No, still can't hear you, my guy. I wish things were different. Thank goodness we have this. Thank goodness we have this interview screen. This was made a long time ago by Achilles. Achilles, shout out, dude.
Where is Achilles?
Where is Achilles? I don't know. I think currently he's building his own videography business. That I am not going to promote Achilles' videography business where you should go to for all of your photo and video needs on the podcast. That is something I will not do. David, if you need to like turn off your camera to like get your microphone, I don't know if there's anything like that. You can do that. But you know what? Don't worry. Currently, we can't see you, or we can see you. The audience can't see you because it's an intermission screen, and we're just gunning for time.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey!
Now?
Oh my goodness, we can, and we're gonna whooshy transition back in. Dave from Skyhounds, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Oh my goodness. And I wanted to first off congratulate your team on, let's see, 2 weeks now, back-to-back victories, LBLO and 7 Sins. How does it feel?
It feels pretty great.
Yeah. Could you tell me a little bit about how your team is celebrating? What sort of like the team ethos is?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Probably just more scrims.
Yeah, fair enough. And have you guys been scrimming more as of late? Like, what would you say like attribute to your recent success?
Recently we had this sort of scrim schedule thing, but we decided to ditch that and just have like scrim blocks, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, kind of thing. Like it used to have been like, hey, plan out your whole entire week.
Yeah.
And then we'll scrim if we have enough. And that didn't work too well, so we got a lot of complaints.
Yeah.
So we decided to change that to that, and it's been going well. And we recently picked up a few new players to the roster.
Yeah, I was about to say, picked up Java, is that right?
Yes. But
Okay.
she couldn't actually play the second match, so we actually had to put Akari on flex support for the second time again.
Dang, and how did I mean, I feel like the results speak for themselves. Akari, phenomenal flex player, no?
Apparently so. I mean, she wanted me to say how she's like a god flex support. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Getting all the shoutouts in early, I feel it. I wanted to ask, just sort of to back it up for a second, how did you get involved in No More Pretenders?
You know what? That's actually a funny story. I was actually here since the server had like no players. I was like one of the very first players.
Really? Okay. You remember when I came into the server then?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's all right. Not a lot of people do.
Rip, dude. Oh, that's unlucky.
Oh my
God.
goodness.
I don't remember either. Don't worry about it.
Oh, all right.
I'm joking, Forrest. I'm joking. Of course I do, because you joined my team.
So you were here since the very beginning.
Mhm. Yeah, I was a Hearthstone gold player, and then I was browsing on Reddit, which I never browse Reddit, and then I just saw
Only losers browse Reddit.
but I saw a post for Overwatch Pretenders, and I was like, yeah, that looks interesting, like actual like team-based tournament kind of thing. So then I joined, and then we did the free agent, like the first ever free agent trial thing, and then at the time that was when Frost and Sky formed Skyhounds,
Right.
and I actually played main tank at that time.
Yeah. And now you have Orange on main tank, is that right?
Yes, but he's kind of scuffed
Okay.
right now, so we're deciding to
It's call out day.
yeah. So we're deciding to put in Pixel a bit more because he seems to communicate a bit more, and Orange recently got a job, so he couldn't show up to scrims as much anymore.
Congratulations to him. What's he doing now?
I have no clue.
You have no clue. Orange, what's your job? Let us know. But okay. So you're involved since the very beginning. You've very much seen sort of like the rise and fall of a lot of these teams. I do want to ask you then, because I feel like you're one of the only qualified people who could answer this question. Do you think current 05 heads could beat peak Alpine Wolves?
Alpine Wolves was, in my opinion, the best GOATS team at the time. Well, in Overwatch Pretenders.
Yeah.
That's
No,
kinda hard
you
to say.
can't. 05 heads, what were you thinking? David's here to put you guys down. I feel it, dude. But
Yeah, pretty much.
But okay. And I wanted to sort of, also dial it back to your recent game versus Seven Sins, right? And I feel like sort of like the victory, I feel like not a lot of people were expecting that victory. I know I wasn't. I'm just gonna, put that out there. But could you walk me through sort of map by map what you guys did, how that game went? Do you think it was just a lucky day for you, or was it something a little bit more consistent in the results of your efforts? Like, walk me through each map.
We did nothing to prepare.
Okay. All right.
That seems like the theme for Skyhound.
Yeah.
Basically, we just formed a roster of 6 players, and we actually had a Kari on flexible account, so we had an even bigger disadvantage. But I don't know. I think it might have been Seven Sins like doubting us because we were an easy team at the time. Look,
Right. Or you were sort of like perceived in that way, but
I mean, I watched a VOD of their game because I found them streaming it.
Right. Oh damn! Got some espionage going on.
Espionage.
Okay. Cool. And well, you aren't out of the doghouse just yet. The Hounds aren't out of the doghouse just yet. You still have 2 more games to play, right? Breakthrough, and is it Suia? I believe that's right. Week 4 Breakthrough Skyhound hasn't happened yet. Week 5 Skyhound Suia hasn't happened yet. And if you win both of those games, there's a chance for Skyhounds to make that eternal playoff run. And I mean, people must be excited about it, right?
Yeah, it would be pretty cool if we just had a rough start and then win the whole thing. But
yeah. And I mean, hey, if you do beat both of them, then you're gonna hop in a 4th seed, which means you're gonna have to fight the giants known as 05 heads.
I think we can beat them.
Really? Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
I like the confidence.
I like the confidence.
I mean, we managed to drew a map when we were like the shit Scions when we had like no one on their actual roles. So.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Who would you say is I'm not gonna phrase a question like that. Rather, I'm just going to list off some of your teammates, and you tell me sort of like your first impression about them, and it's kind of like their game style. Is that right? Okay. All right. We're gonna start off with your newest pickup, Jawa. Like, what was the logic behind you picking him up?
Caesar disappeared off the planet.
Okay. Fair enough.
Fair one.
Okay. All right. And how was Jawa?
Okay, personally, I don't know if Shaw was watching this, but I think Caesar's better than him.
Okay. Damn.
But it seems like there's a drought of flex supports right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like the only one we could find. Like, he's still like really good. He's still diamond and all, but yeah. But I think someone on the team said he had some like interesting like target focus. Like he would focus the Lucio instead of the Ryan or something.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Focusing a bit more on the squishes, getting those discords where they need to go. Pixel Storm.
I like his main thing. He communicates better than Orange, and he hits some game-breaking chatter.
All right, fair enough. You heard it. You heard it here first. And forgive me, Orange is still on the roster. That's still. I just didn't see his name until I just saw it again. Flip side.
He's a good Zarya. He's
cool.
When we first tried him out, he was kind of garbage at it, not gonna lie. But he's gotten better.
It's on the fence, Christ.
Oh man, it's all coming out. All right. Let's talk about not you, David, but forgive me. The person named Dave is Caesar. Is that right? Who recently left?
Yes.
Okay. Forgive
me.
Well,
he didn't leave. He's just like MIA.
Okay. He's MIA. He's Halo Infiniting it. E3 was great this year. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about Brainstorm.
Brainstorm's still on the roster.
All right. Let's fix that. What are you doing? Okay. Worthy.
Worthy, he's the best diva in the league.
The best diva in the league. You heard it here first. What are you doing, Hobbs? I mean, why are you even playing the game? Okay. Klaus.
He's not the best mechanically, but he's like a key role in our shot calling.
Okay. And is he your Lucio player?
Yes.
Perfect.
He also hates playing Mercy.
He hates playing Mercy. Akari.
Been being more communicative lately, and kind of been benched lately.
I mean, hey, if you ever need a flex support, it looks like Skyhounds is hoarding them all and putting them on the bench. How could you do such a thing? Let's talk about Orange. And is it Orange or Orange?
I think he pronounces Orange.
Perfect. Let's talk about Orange.
When we first picked him up, he was decent. At the time, he was integrated in the roster really well, so we really had no need to pick up a new main team.
Yeah.
But ever since he recently got a job and couldn't start showing up as often, we were kind of like, yeah, we might need to pick up a new main team. And actually, funny enough, Pixel is actually a friend of Worthy's.
Hey, look at that. Okay.
So when we were like, yeah, maybe we should pick up a new main tank, Worthy was like, yeah, I have a main tank friend, so yeah.
Cool.
And Flipside's actually another friend of Worthy. So maybe we should just get a team of all Worthy's friends. I
mean, I feel like every single time Worthy recruits like someone, he gets, like a punch card, and every fifth one he gets 500 SR, right? That's how this sort of things work. Last one on the docket, Adrian.
Really good diva, but competing with Worthy, so it's kind of difficult to get on the starting roster.
Okay.
Like I really love his diva bombs. He's always at least gotten 2 kills.
Okay.
But Worthy is better, like all around, in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I mean, and sometimes you need that clutch factor.
Yeah.
Would you ever sub Adrian in for Worthy under any circumstance?
If Worthy can show up, or if we felt like he did better in a scrim, probably.
Okay.
Because Worthy still communicates a lot and stuff.
Okay.
Worthy is worthy.
Worthy is worthy. I mean, you know what? I'm gonna still hold out for my boy Adrian here.
But
If you're benched, don't let that happen to you.
But if he does show up, we are, I think, required by OWP to put him in though. So
Yeah.
we probably need to put him in for a few scrims, so it's not just like because he comes in.
But
it's
also
completely
because he's a
different.
teammate and you want to support him and your own growth as a player. That's what you should be saying. Just as we're going to wrap up, I have one last question for you, and that is, how are you going to prepare for your future games against Breakthrough and Suia if your team is serious about making playoffs?
In my opinion, we don't need to prepare for Breakthrough because they're the easiest team in the league.
I mean, hey, you know, it just might surprise you, but all right.
Yeah, maybe. And I don't know if we can find a VOD of them. Suia. Well, everyone's confidence on the team is like up here right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like we don't feel like we need to prepare for anything, but I still feel like we should because, we can be the 7 sins kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we're probably gonna do a scrim and VOD review. A few of those.
Yeah, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday block is coming up right now. So I know that Sconce is gonna have sort of like their nose to the grind wheel. And I guess now's the time for shout outs. Anything you want to say, you want to roast someone on air, now's the time to do it. Go ahead and call Sarangbil a feeder.
Just
You're a
not me.
feeder. Hit me with it.
Endo's a good main tank. Yeah.
All right, Endo's a good main tank. You heard it here first. Do you have any Twitch or any Discord or anything else? Anything else you want to plug at this point?
My Twitter is DavidMoyo10, and my Twitch is DJM05090.
All right, DJM0590, and is it David Moya, Moya?
Moyal.
Moyal. Alrighty.
Don't worry, everyone points us as Moyle all the time.
Moyle. All right. Well, David, thank you so much for being here. Good luck to you, and be sure to check out the Skyhounds games coming up in this delay week very soon. Take care.
All right, but one thing I do want to say,
what's up?
Team should watch out for us. All right, bye.
All right, watch out for Skyhounds. Be sure to check out David, his Twitter, DGM0590, I think that's right. And then at David Moyle, Moyal on Twitter. Be sure to give him lots of love. Thanks for being on the show. Next, we're just gonna get straight into it, right? Skyhounds on their high. Another people at the top of their game right now in lower division are Sing Woman in Your Area Academy, and we're gonna have two people, Hothead and McTater Tot, come on in. This is a great song. I enjoy it.
What's going on, fellas?
Oh my goodness. Hello and welcome. While we're getting everything set up, do you want to quickly introduce yourselves?
Go ahead, Hothead.
Okay, I am Hothead, the hit scan DPS for Suia Academy.
Great.
And I'm Tater, the flex support.
All
Flex
right.
in general for Suia Academy.
Dang, all right. So we have two people, one of which has a face, one of which is a tiger. Welcome to the show, both of you. Thank you for making yourselves available. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And I totally drastically messed up who's who on this. So while I get everything set up, Puppy, quick, ask them questions.
Well, I guess we get straight into kind of like the normal questions of how did you get involved in Overwatch Pretenders?
Go ahead, Hothead.
It was actually my friend Sonny from Lightbringers Leftovers. Me and him were really good friends back in Jane Pugs, and I noticed that he'd stopped showing up, and always said custom game in game. So I messaged him. He said, "Oh, I'm in a little community ran league called Overwatch Pretenders," and eventually I got curious enough to join it.
Okay.
Nice.
And put my intro in there, and at like the exact same moment, Suya needed a sniper, and then here I am.
Perfect.
Good timing.
And what about you, Tater?
I actually found it on Jane's server too. I think Costanza made a post,
Mhm.
and then I DM'd him, tried out, and then joined.
Yeah, and it's been a fun time ever since. I want to ask, how has time been on Suya so far? Like, have you enjoyed your time there? Like, what's the team culture like?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. Good group of guys who get along together really, really well. And yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Sucks that I'm gonna have to play less because getting a job and whatnot. But
Mm-hmm. And congratulations, where are you? Or like, what are you up to? If you don't mind me asking.
content editing.
Dang.
Yeah.
Editing content.
Words.
Words.
Oh,
Sounds
okay,
good.
okay.
Sounds like a fun time. And so is it mainly like script writing? Like you work with like words, not photos or video, like stuff like that?
Right. Just
Got it.
or just words in general.
Cool. And hey, I just wanted to say congratulations to both you. 4-0 over both Saturn Snow Leopards and Seven Sins Academy. You guys must feel on top of your game right now. Could you walk me through each of those matches?
Wait, where's... Okay, I found it. Ooh, okay. So in going into the season, I knew, like, I had basically an assumption about who would be our hardest opponents and who wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, every single one has been correct. But after seeing, after going into the season and getting destroyed in the last one,
Mm-hmm.
I guess we were saying like don't underestimate any people. For Saturn Snow Leopards, during scrims we scrimmed them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we were beating them every time, but so far every time we've played them they've been getting better and better.
Mhm.
So that's taught us don't underestimate anybody.
Right.
And then I think Tater's the only one who can explain our one defeat so far
Yeah.
this season.
Oh yeah, we were missing both Hothead and Vivix for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Because Vivix is a forehead and didn't do his placements on his main account.
And
Replacements.
and just to review, I'm just trying to figure out which one your loss was. It was against Night Ops Academy. That was a 3-1. And how did that game go?
It was pretty rough. I mean, people were playing roles they don't play,
Mm-hmm.
and so like those first two games were us trying to figure out how to play as
Yeah.
a team where people are playing off roles.
Mm-hmm.
But that last map, I mean, we got our shit together.
I mean, you know, I feel like right now, like the results really, really speak for themselves. About the Seven Sins Academy game, I feel like a lot of people had them really hot, like kind of within the upper tier of Academy teams. Like how did that game go? Like, I mean, granted it was a 4-0, but you know how there are some times where there are 4-0s where every map was very, very close. How was that game with Seven Sins Academy?
It was about as difficult as I expected it to be, although I didn't expect it to be a 4-0. But yeah, like you said, every single map was way closer than the scoreline
Mm-hmm.
leads you to believe. Because I knew once we had faced LBL and KOA, Seven Sins was like one of the was the big one to
Mhm.
face.
Right.
But-
They did make playoffs last season, after all.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I don't keep track of the playoffs. But yeah, basically it was extremely difficult. It was difficult as I expected it was,
Mhm.
but at the same time, I didn't expect us to be able to win every map. I was expecting at least a 3-2.
Okay. Hothead was expecting a map 5. Didn't you just say that you've been correct every single time until now? Where did that go? Where did that go, Hothead? No, I'm just playing. I wanted to ask about the recent, news posts in the server that both of you might be familiar with regarding the lower division postseason length and maybe the off-season length. And there are a couple very passionate people on the topic in your team. well, rather, I want to ask, where do you guys stand on that? Would you rather have sort of this like a shorter lower term, a longer post term? Like how's that working out for Suya?
the off season is 3 weeks for playoffs and 1 week for an actual off season, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think it should be a longer off season, not by a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we're keeping the standard playoffs the same 3 weeks for the playoffs, and
Mhm.
then maybe minimum 2 weeks of the actual off season, so that way people have more time to pick up tryouts, fill in holes, and then build up synergy. So that way you're not forced to do it inside of the actual matches.
Right.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, especially with the lower division, people hop in and leave like,
Yeah.
pretty often. So I mean, that additional week to find players and get them used to like its team setting, because a lot of times with like gold, low plat players, that's their first time playing on a team.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to kind of get used to that because, I mean, comp is totally different from playing the league.
Right, totally. Now,
So that adjustment period would be nice.
Now, there was a claim made earlier, and I was having a conversation with another person about this, that said our academy teams could probably take on people in Diamond if they were to all play ranked. Would you agree with that sentiment? Do you think that single woman in your academy could take on like a Diamond like ranked team, or like just like a ranked 6 stack?
I mean, I'll play comp with a bunch of like upper division teams,
Mhm.
and I mean, I could never like in lower division I can flex to DPS,
Yeah.
but I can never do that in like diamond or plat.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna get screwed over, and
Mhm.
like I'm just gonna feed. But I
Mhm.
feel like playing my role, I could like I do fine
Mhm.
in those
Right.
plat games.
Okay.
So I mean, maybe.
Maybe. Oh, way.
I mean, it'd be fun to try. that's for
Yeah.
sure.
And
if our entire team was together, I think that we could, by some miracle, take on and beat a Diamond team.
I think
but-
you guys could.
Mm.
I think you guys could, if anything. I'm also going to allow both of you the opportunity to roast every single one of your teammates as I list off some names, and you tell me what you really think about them. Does that sound good?
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So if anyone's following along with the roster doc, hey, there you go. But we're gonna start off with Sarungbiel, because this man's talking mad shit in the Twitch chat.
Indeed, I see you, son. I see you.
Uh,
Okay, I'm gonna stick to roasting for Vivix, but in
Okay.
all seriousness, considering the fact that in such a like vocally, I guess no, communicationally oriented game, that's a word.
Yeah, that's a word. Yep.
Him not having a mic, you think it would hold him back a lot,
Mhm.
but just by sheer mechanics and game sense, he is able to keep up with everybody in the game and even be able to hold his own if
Right.
he gets dove in or just collapsed upon and everything. And I think
Good on him.
at this point we have definitely enough synergy to just, a mic or not, he's able to stay with us and play with the flow of the entire team.
Sarung, DM me, dude. I have like a spare mic you can have, like no bamboozle.
same.
Like
Yeah,
for
just-
sure. Like don't hold yourself back like that, dude. Mics are nice. Let's talk about is Salty Chan still on the roster?
I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Talk to me about him.
I don't know if she showed up to any matches.
Okay.
I don't remember the last time she played in a scrim either. So
Okay.
it's been a while.
All right.
Yeah.
It's been a
She's
while.
our sub. She's our sub whenever she appears.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Eidolon.
Eidolon feeds.
Old nigga! Beats harder than Vivix. No, I'm kidding.
No. His Pharah is insane.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, this far.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
actually have
it
a
makes sense.
highlight.
Farah in any
When I play
comp.
Mercy, he makes it easy
Mhm.
for the most part. Like, I just don't die.
Yeah, just don't die. Always good fuel management. His barrages are on point. We actually have a highlight from him that we're gonna show a little later. Talk to me about Smee.
The Giga Chat of pretenders.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. He's the bumper of lower division. He's the tranquil of the underdogs. Fair enough. Talk to me about Moose.
He needs to figure out that you can't 1v1 a Bastion as Lucio.
I mean, if you're good enough. The mental image, that's hilarious.
No, he's hilarious though. He's a good kid.
He's a perfect mix between passive and Reddit, and it works perfectly.
Yeah. He's a great aura management, I'm sure. Is Goth still on the roster for you guys?
Yeah, he got a new job, so he's been showing up a lot less.
Okay.
And Smee's kind of taken over for that main tank role
Okay.
as of like early this season.
And I've saved the best for last.
Oh no.
Can you tell me which name I'm gonna say out of the bag next?
Something tells me it's the person who I've called a feeder twice on this show.
Talk to me about Vivek's hothead. Let it all out. It sounds like it sounds like you want to talk about it.
Nah, I'm just memeing. I'm only allowed to trash talk him, but no, he's actually extremely good. And even I think it was either at the start or a little ways into the season, me and him switched between Brig and Zarya and
Mhm.
Goats.
Mhm.
And playing triple DPS and all that, he's able to play every hero that we have played in the comp so well.
Yeah. Okay.
But he's still a feeder.
And now, Tater, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to talk about Hothead. Like, give me a.
I'm better at Widow than him.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
that?
I knew it. I knew we'd say it.
The
Okay.
has been thrown.
He's insane. I mean, he's the first Academy graduate, so I mean that's huge.
Yeah.
Our first Academy graduate for us.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see him on the upper division team next season.
And hey, Hothead, congratulations on that, by the way. I don't think I ever got the opportunity to tell you. It's very, very big. For Father's Day, it looks like you became Swia's daddy. So, Hothead, talk to me about Tater.
No, I'm kidding. He is like an amazing flex support. Like this guy has played every support where he's asked of him, and even if he's playing an off role like Widow, I'm still calling that an off role. He's able to play by my standards, play well by my standards.
Okay. And do you consider standards like relatively high? Just out of,
They're so
out of
low.
curiosity.
very
Are they?
high.
Are they? Yeah. All right.
So you're not really saying anything then.
No.
I mean, it's like good for a bronze player, so
Yeah. And so, just as we're wrapping up here, Week 6 has a rematch against Seven Sins Academy. Could you tell me a little bit about how y'all are preparing for it? Granted, you just did hop off the 4-0 against them. Maybe they know how you play now. So what do you think they're going to bring to the table, and what are you planning to do for that?
Tater, you take it.
Tater, let's go, dude. Let's go.
I mean, we got VAR reviews with like Costanza and just more scrims and Costanza roasting us, calling
Yeah.
us foreheads,
Of course.
calling us feeders.
Yeah.
After every game.
I mean, that's why you're wearing the hat, right? To hide the forehead.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge, balding a little bit.
Yep.
It's cool. But I mean, just doing what we know that we're good at.
Yeah.
And sticking to our guns, and we should be pretty good from there.
Alrighty. Well, in any case, hey, thanks so much for being here and taking the time to talk to me on Father's Day. Hopefully, you guys have fun plans.
Thank you for having us.
Homework.
Alrighty. Now's the time for any plugs. Twitch, Discord, Twitter, whatever you want. Hit me with it.
Twitch.tv/ctate, like like water.
Yeah.
SEATATE.
Great. And Hothead, anything?
Nothing.
Alrighty.
Don't follow C-Tate, don't.
Okay. All right. Twitch.tv/SEATATE. And that's going to be McTaterTot's Twitter. From Hothead, don't follow him. From the pod, give him some love. That's Twitch. Thank you so much for being here. And good luck to your game against Seven Sins Academy next week.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
All right.
Cheers.
Once again, that was Hothead and McTaterTot, both from Swia Academy, currently 4-1 in standings, number 1 seed currently in lower division. And we're just going to keep this podcast chugging along with Tactical starting to break down the game of another number 1 seed. That's going to be O5Heads versus Lightbringer's Legacy. But while we're getting everything set up, hey, how's it going?
Hey, man.
And I'm going to turn your volume up just a little bit. So for those of you that don't know Tactical, he's been a very, very old friend of mine. Used to be a coach of Action News Team. Was it 2 seasons prior? Is that right?
I believe so. I don't keep track.
Yeah, I want to say that's right. And I mean, hey, like, thanks so much for, being here and making yourself available. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
And just give me one moment while I'm getting everything set up. People are seeing this wonderful intermission screen on Hanamura. But in the meantime, got any fun plans for Father's Day?
No, nothing much.
Yeah, it's kind of hanging out. Okay, all right. I mean, you're about to school us, right? So there you go.
Yes.
And it looks like you have a couple clips for us about the O5 heads and Lightbringer's leftover game. Can I ask what your first impression was, just sort of reviewing these clips?
First impression.
Yeah.
Well, at times it could get pretty sloppy. Well, that's my general impression of it. But sometimes there is some good coordination, good decision making from both teams.
Okay. And what's this first clip you have for us?
All right, so the first clip is on, I believe, Hollywood on the first point, where we have O5 heads running, I think a classic dive, just 2-2-2, while Lightbringers is using the classic bunker as we know it on ladder. You've probably seen it all. Yeah, nothing much out of the ordinary. You've probably seen all these comps already. So right here we're starting with Sombra POV. All right, so I think it's pretty. Excuse me. Okay, so give me a second. Just give me a moment. I need
Of
to change
course,
the copy
yeah.
real quick.
Of course. Take your time. Hey, it's us. How's it going? I know, right? I was about to say we're
Okay, all right.
Okay.
All right.
Oh my goodness! And as soon
All right,
as
excuse me for
you
that.
said we were good to go, I wanted the intermission for technical difficulties, and we're back. Hello and welcome.
All right. Yeah. That was my fault. Okay, so right here we have Sombra. As we can see, D.Va is spy checking for Sombra right now, which is generally a good idea when you're running against any sort of Sombra. But as we can see, just a few seconds later, the D.Va stops spy checking Sombra, which is not a very good idea because you're letting the Sombra do what she wants, and it's very easy for the Sombra to just wait out if you stop spy checking that easily and predictably. So
Right.
D.Va's trading off spy checking for some random poke damage onto the tanks, which is not really worth it because once you get Sombra out of Invis, she's forced to translocate pretty quickly out of a fight, and you pretty much put the fight in a 5v6. By not spy checking and forcing the Sombra out to translocate, you're basically letting the O5 heads engage whenever they want, which is not what you want to be doing.
Right.
Okay, so right here we have the hack on the FTs, which is pretty huge. That means he can't put a mortality field down, and he can't use his self-heal to sustain himself.
Or his other team, because that invincibility matrix is huge, and that's a really big nade on them as well, right?
Yeah, that's huge, and they get a huge anti-nade. But the problem is that, as we can see, the health bars right here, Winston, D.Va is already out of meta. That means they did not dive properly. As the dive, D.Va has to peel for the Winston with defense matrix, which clearly didn't happen here. As you can see in the span of 1 to 2 seconds, both of the front lines melt instantly, which means the defense matrix was not up for those 2 seconds. As the D.Va, you have to help peel for your dive and Winston with the defense matrix. That will have give the O5 heads 2 extra seconds to melt down anyone and anything they needed. But without the defense matrix, the front line instantly dies. It doesn't matter how much sustain you have, it's all burst damage. You really can't heal due to burst damage of Bastion like that.
Right. Now, can I ask, is it possible to maximize the clip, or is that not possible?
I could maximize the clip, but it gets really pixelated. I could do that if you like to, but
Could we try it out real quick? I just want to see how it looks. And
is that okay with everyone?
Yeah, that actually looks great.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
If this is fine, then yeah, I'll keep
Okay.
it like this.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. Okay, so right, we get a huge anti-nade, but as we mentioned earlier, the front line is already melted. Look at that. The Winston and D.Va is already pretty much out of the fight already. Winston's already too low. D.Va's out of mech, so these two are practically out of the fight without much sustain. And as we can see in the kill feed, Pharah gets the kill on Ana, which is a very intelligent thing to do because usually in a 2-2-2 with Ana is usually left very vulnerable when the dive initiates because she's left alone and she doesn't have the mobility to keep up with the classic dive. So
Right.
diving on top of Ana is very easy and usually a free kill. That also means, your rest of the team won't really be able to sustain. Somehow the Lucio gets picked off too, so this means absolutely no heals for O5 heads. That means this is going to be an easy cleanup. It doesn't matter that Bastion might die soon, or might die in a couple seconds later. He's already done his job. It's already easy cleanup for Lightbringer leftovers.
Right. Now in terms of like this comp, would you suggest this sort of like dive comp to counter bunker? I feel like diving into a Bastion is like the last thing you want to do as a Winston.
That is a good point. I don't generally see or recommend a Winston classic dive because the whole point of going against a Bastion dive is to try and evade damage. You don't really want to go up with large HP pools. That's the reason why they go so well against goats, because generally you have such high amounts of far range damage, which the goats are weak. One of the weaknesses is range. You keep them at bay with far long range attacks, and they will melt down because they don't really have a lot of capabilities to heal poke damage. It's pretty slow. They can heal it, but it's not really that fast.
Right.
The only burst healing option they have is Brigida, and it's on the 5-second cooldown. It's not really gonna heal that much to all the poke damage.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but so instead of maybe a Winston, well, generally you do see Ball because to try and disrupt. Winston doesn't really get much done because as we know for bunker, most of the people they run in the bunker has armor. You have Orisa who has armor. You have Bastion who has armor. You have Diva who has armor.
Right.
And Winston going against armor is not very good. His damage is really just not. It's not good enough to try and go against a bunker.
Okay. All right. So O5 heads get completely cleaned up this fight.
Yep. This is gonna be easy clean up for them because Lightbringer's Bastion he has already done his job and weakened the enemy team severely. They have no supports left. This is just gonna be clean up. They just probably gonna just farm some more charge and that's the goal of the rest of this fight now. Alright, yeah, as expected, easy cleanup. Alright, the Genji gets out. Okay, alright, that's fine. As we can see, the Bastion did die there, but he already done his job, so it doesn't really matter at this point.
And they swapped over to Genji here. Okay.
I believe they had a Genji already.
Okay, forgive me.
Okay, so alright, this is getting ready for another dive here. Alright, they already initially dive. That's pretty hasty in my opinion, but okay. Okay, so this sleep is huge. This is very huge. This is going to be a temporarily 5v6 for the duration of this sleep, and the Ana will not be able to get picked off because the Pharah is really the only one that's going to be able to get for the Ana. So this is actually a huge sleep.
And
okay,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's a little sloppy. It's very sloppy here. You can see like the target coordination is not very coordinated, I guess. I guess that's for lack of better words. As you can see, they're all going after different targets, so it does take a little longer for O5 heads to clean up the rest of the team. There is a huge anti-nade. Farah's out of the fight for now, so right now it's just kind of clean up. Because this time, as we can see, the defense matrix is used. As we can see that they are sustaining a lot longer compared to the last fight. So very good move by O5 heads to realize the mistake of not using defense matrix. But with the use of defense matrix, they are allowed to stay in the fight longer, and those 2 extra seconds allows them to put in more damage and get the damage they need to win against the bunker. The problem with bunker is that once it falls, it usually just falls completely because everyone's kind of needed in the bunker. Kind of like Ghost, but not really, because in the bunker, if anyone falls, it just kind of falls apart because there's no way to recover once someone's lost. Like you have res, but it's very risky because you could just get picked off. I'm surprised the Mercy even got the res here. She got the res last fight too, which is I'm not sure how that happened. I'm guessing defense matrix, but either way, it's not the Bastion being out of the fight already, being picked off. It's not very looking very good for Lightbringers right now. This is probably just gonna be easy cleanup because they've already taken too much damage already.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, easy cleanup. They get a nice fast EMP. Alright, so they probably barrage here, probably because it's gonna switch comps. They don't really need to hold on to it anymore. Okay, so the main thing between the first and second fight, the difference was that the Pharah got slept. That was the main thing. Crimson, Lightbringer's Pharah, was playing too aggressively and was telegraphed for that mistake. Even if let's say the Ana does not land the sleep, The
Right.
Pharah could still have been easily punished, assuming let's say the Sombra doesn't just go for flanking all the time. If the
Mhm.
Pharah gets hacked, she's goner. The Pharah's playing such a weird and bad positioning that it's so easily punished. But I guess the O5 heads are focusing more on taking down the bunker rather than just taking out Pharah first.
Right.
But if an easy hack onto the Pharah, she's dead. She can't fly away. She can't get out. That would be an easy pick for O5 heads to initiate a 5v6. But
Mhm.
I guess the sleep works too. The sleep landing, that's basically a 5v6, so they go in and initiate. Without the Pharah's extra damage, they're not really able to clean up fast enough with just the Bastion because of the defense matrix. The defense matrix being used this time, it's taking out a lot of the damage. Defense matrix value is insane. It's infinite. It's basically infinite for those 2 seconds. That's what makes it so good of an ability.
Right.
And it being used properly the second time, along with the Pharah being out of the fight for those 6 seconds of sleep, is what won O5 heads the fight this time.
Okay.
As we can see, the Pharah is playing in a very easily punishable and open area, which is one big mistake made by Lightbringer. So sleep's right there. It's telegraphed so easily because Pharah's playing in such an open spot.
Right.
Even without sleep, if they chose to just punish the Pharah instead, it would not have been that big of an issue. It could have been an easy pick off instead. But where they chose to slap, and very smart moves to leave the Pharah there and just clean up the rest of the team and leaving the Pharah last.
Okay. So if you were to sort of distill this entire clip down in a one lesson, almost any upper division or lower division team could really get, it would be know who you're focusing, don't dive directly into a bunker, and use the opportunities created by things like sleeper stuns to punish teammates. Is that fair?
Yep, that's fair. Yep.
Okay.
And defense matrix, as you can see, another major difference between the first and second clip was just defense matrix.
Yeah.
And so the second fight, they used it, and guess what? They were able to stay in the fight for that much longer to clean up the rest of the targets.
Yeah.
And into the first fight, just those 1 or 2 seconds of no defense matrix, and everyone just died. Winston was like 50 health, and D.Va instantly just got out of the mech. Like, you can't just engage without using defense matrix, especially on the Bastion. That's just asking to die right there.
And Puppy, I'm gonna field this over to you. Anything else to add? I think. Yeah, go ahead.
I think the reason why Five Heads were able to make this work is because of two key players in this, and that was the Ana and both the Sombra, as we sort of already discussed. The kind of hack targets to be able to get rid of that immortality field, and also the nades were absolutely fantastic from thinking. Really, really good nades both times. The second time, obviously, a lot better because they actually managed to get that onto the Bastion, and they managed to get the immortality field up. But at that point, we'd kind of already seen the dive be sort of relatively successful, and with the sleep on King Crimson as well, it made it a lot easier for the Ana to keep healing. So I think generally, I'd 100% agree with the fact that you don't want to play dive against the bunker comp, but I think the reason on this map why it makes it a little bit easier is because they don't have to expend as many abilities to kind of get into a position to dive them. So they can initially just turn this corner, and like we saw in the second fight, they can just immediately just use one of their cooldowns and get on top of them, which is not the end of the world when you consider in the grand scheme of things how hard bunker can be sometimes, where there are these high grounds really far away, like on Horizon Luna Connolly. You probably have to spend about 3 or 4 cooldowns to kind of just get into a position to be able to contest them. And you kind of have to you waste a lot of time, and as we found this week, Overwatch is a time game, so it's I think O5 heads have got it kind of right here in the sense that they realize that if they're going to die, they're going to die quickly. They get another fight, and they're going to build up those ults quite quickly, as we see KYS and gets an EMP within 2 fights. You should it's quite difficult. So yeah, no, I think it's I think most of what everything what tends to happen is very true. Yeah, it's an interesting composition, interesting clip.
All right.
Yeah. Also, another thing I like to add is bunker. It's very hard to actually full hold with a bunker, assuming the enemy team actually just holds onto ults, because once they hold, the enemy team has ults, it's very hard to even hold with a bunker. Because if they all just press their ultimates, a bunker comp does not have the tools to deal with it. You have to be really lucky, or the enemy you get really insane punish or sleep onto. No, well, they don't have Ana, but they'll have to pull out some insane stuff just to even win against a team that's just storing ultimates. Like, how a bunker cannot go against like EMP Nanoblade. Like that's just gonna be an instant wipe. They have no defensive ult. It, the EMP will basically put Bastion out of commission. Like
Mhm.
there's no end game goal for a bunker comp. Like you have to
Yeah.
be relying very heavily on luck for the enemy team to mess up if you want to win completely full hold of a bunker. It has
Mhm.
no very like it doesn't have very high ultimate win potential. It's just mostly to burn off time. It's not like you won't really see a bunker most of the time win off. I mean, in the rank game, yes, you will because people throw out ultimates randomly, and then all of a sudden you have no ults to just press Q and just win the fight. But in like in a team game where when you guys realize that oh yeah we can just store ultimates and just go into the next fight with them, it's very hard to win with a bunker.
I think maybe that's what Lightbringers were trying to do with the Farah pick, and that's why what makes the sleep such a big part of this play is that she's in this where it's paused right now. She's 5% away from her barrage, and she could have quite easily gotten that with potentially a pick on Anna as well, and use that barrage in a kind of more defensive sense if they decided to use their EMP. If she kind of positioned herself fairly well, maybe a little bit higher up where we saw that bunker was just outside, she potentially could have kind of used it a little bit more defensively to kind of maintain that bunker going, and keep it going on to another 3-4 fights.
That's fair. That's fair for a barrage, but it will be very hard to pull off as a defensive maneuver since
100%,
something like
yeah.
barrage is very easily blocked. You have defense
Yeah.
matrix, you have Ana sleep darts. It really depends on what they're running. Even EMP will cancel it out. So
Yeah.
there's too many ults to make it reliable, and it won't really be able to pin down like let's say a nano blade. Like
No.
Genji has deflect, he has dash. It's very hard to pin down any of these ultimates. So the Pharaoh is mostly just for extra damage and perhaps just for a pocket for extra poke damage and a safe place for Mercy to fly to. Other than that, it's not really like the barrage. You can just kind of use it whenever you want. It's not really like a major key ultimate. Like you find a decent opportunity, just use it. It's not really like too big of a thing.
It's kind of like you play Farah for the poke, not so much for the ultimate, which is totally fine. I mean, I feel like, like Bastion's played for his huge damage output as a primary fire as well, right? So.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, that it could be used like as a little defensive maneuver. It's just not not a guaranteed way or a very safe or consistent way to try and defend yourself against those kind of ultimates.
So, I feel like we could talk about this clip until the cows come home, but we do have another clip that you wanted to share with us. Is that right? I want to make sure we get to that.
Okay, so let's move on to the next clip.
Great.
So let's see right here. We are on Volskaya this time, point A. So let's see, O5, okay, we're running Gold's Mirrors, but O5 Heads is running a Winston instead of the Reinhardt, which is fair. You have a bunch of high ground here, and it's not too uncommon to see a Winston over a Ryan on this map. Some teams option to pick this, and some teams don't, but it's not too uncommon, not too rare to see. Okay, so they take high grounds, which is pretty common on these kind of maps because they want to be able to engage from high ground. Not too bad of a choice. Okay, so this could have been a very big mistake for O5 heads. Winston jumping in this deep for simple poke damage and the farm primal. This could have been very easily punished. As we can see, the Brig armor pack is already wasted here too. I would like to mention Brig armor pack. This is another important key ability in Ghost that you do not want to throw out randomly like this. This was thrown out way too preemptively. The whole point of Brig armor is to try and burst heal the armor when they start dipping below it, because once any tank loses the armor, you potentially go through a huge burst damage that you cannot heal from. It's just too much damage to heal. The whole point is trying to heal the armor as much as you can. So let's say a Reinhardt, who's half of his HP is armor, for a Brigitte will want to throw an armor pack, maybe around like 300 HP, to try and heal 150 armor. If you throw it too early, you're gonna overheal a little, but you still lose value because you're only healing like 70 armor. You want to try and heal 150 points worth of armor so that your Reinhardt is able to stay in the fight with armor to keep up the sustain. If you throw it too late, you're not gonna heal that much armor, and your Reinhardt could potentially just die from burst damage. This is a perfect scenario of that. The Brig armor was done way too early. I can't see the bubble cooldown. I tried looking for it, but I really didn't see a Zarya bubble being thrown out. But since the Winston's already diving in, and the Zarya has not thrown a bubble yet, I'm gonna assume it's on cooldown. So without a Zarya bubble or Brig armor, this Winston can potentially die just from one Brig bash Discord orb, and everyone just and mouse cooking this Winston right here. It's
Right.
not very hard to kill Winston like that. In the duration of that one bash, even if he has primal, he can melt instantly, and this is a very fatal mistake. You don't want to dive this deep in with a Winston, especially without any cooldowns. Even if you did have a bubble, it's still very easily punished because should everyone choose to focus on you, that bubble will melt instantly, and the Brig just needs to bash, and the Winston's probably dead with the focus fire. If he wants to just go for poke damage, you would rather just jump to the rare's endings, or just jump high enough so you can poke, but not actually land on the surface. You don't really want to dive this deep. It's actually a miracle that Winston made it out alive here.
And that was my next question. Like, did he make it out alive? And it looks like he did. He was just trying to get that
Yep,
last
he did.
percentage on the primal.
I think he gets
Surprisingly,
booped
he
by
does make it
the
out.
brig. I think he gets booped by the brig. He gets whip shot by the brig, and he gets pushed off. I had a look at this clip earlier, and I'm pretty sure he gets shot.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, yep. That's exactly what happens. Yeah.
It looks like
Okay.
he just walked off. Let me see. Okay, no, it wasn't a whip shot. It would shoot a little longer. I think he just got swung off by the Reinheimer. Reinheimer does have a little knockoff like that. It acts really weird with the physics, but that's not a whip shot.
Cool.
I was looking at the Brigida. Brigida, it's pretty, it's pretty distinct animation when you use whip
Yeah.
shot.
Okay. So he gets primal. And what happens next?
Primal. Okay, so alright, so Primal. His goal is probably just to knock them all off high ground, cause some disruption, and allow his team to focus fire anyone who gets out of position due to Primal. Okay, not bad. Okay, not really a clear focus. He's just trying to throw people off the map and just hope their team's focused on someone. Okay, so right here when in GOAT, you do have to understand the value of trading. Okay, so let's see. Lightbringers do get the pick on the Brigida, which is nice, but almost immediately we can see the D.Va catches the Zarya off guard. When you trade people, Zarya is one of the last people you want to trade first, and this early into the fight. The fight hasn't really started too hard. It's just Winston throwing people all over the place and trying to catch people out of position. And Zarya was unfortunate enough to be one of those people first picks this early into the fight. Zarya being picked off means you have absolutely very little damage. You have very little damage in this entire fight, and you have no bubbles to try and protect your front line. This is actually a much better pick compared to a Brigida. When you first just lose Brigida, you just lose some sustain. That's fine, because when you just lose sustain, that just means you can't last in the fight as long as you like to. But with a Zarya, you can't even dish out the damage to win a fight necessarily. So having a Zarya being picked off value is much and way higher than losing a Brigida first. They die roughly exactly the same time. It's just like very close to each other. So the trade value is even, but it's a 5v5, but the 05 heads is definitely in the advantage right now. Even not looking at this Primal being pushing off the Zenyatta. Just looking at those two first picks, 05 heads is already in a huge advantage picking off the Zarya first, because they still have the Zarya in commission to try and dish out as much damage as she can.
Yeah. And I want to take this opportunity to just say, hey, Blue, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate it. The pod couldn't be what it is without you guys. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, no. Okay, so towards the end of the Primal, Winston's able to get the Zenyatta off, which is another huge pick. That's going to be a 4v6. So I expect 05 has to easily be able to clean this up. They down Zarya and Zenyatta, which is two major hardcore DPSs in the Ghost comp. They dish out so much damage, and now they just lost their other defensive ult in this fight if they wanted to invest and try and win in this fight. They do invest a sound barrier though, which is pretty interesting, but okay, let's see how this plays out. Okay, so they're trying to focus down from what it seems, they're trying to focus down the Zarya. They're all trying to rush towards the Zarya to try and focus her down. A little weird target priority though, because I mean Zarya is indeed a very high priority target, but as we can see that they can't follow up on it. The distance is just so far between. They're all trying to run towards the Zarya, but the Zarya is so far away. I'm not sure if the Lucio is speed boosting or not, but they're taking a very long time. They're losing precious time to try and focus on another target rather than the Zarya, who's very far out. They're trying to punish a target that's too far out to be really punished properly. Okay, so Reinhardt does die for that, chasing the Zarya. Okay, so that was mostly just bad target priority. Honestly, the Zarya was not really in a position to be punished. I'm assuming the Lucio did not have amp speed, judging by how slow they were running, and they did still have indeed a Lucio and Zenyatta, who was sitting in the Mega. I think that was the easier target to punish, because right now the odds of winning this fight wasn't very high after losing 2 people. So if they maybe just targeted the Zen, maybe they will force the trance out, so they'll have an advantage next fight because they already lost to Zarya and Zenyatta. I really don't think a fight is winnable after that unless you pull some miracle. But in the regular, just assuming both teams are of equal ability, the low 5 heads is probably won this fight already. So if you just charge towards the Zenyatta who's sitting in Mega instead of that Zarya, you might have been able to force a trance because the Zen might have panicked, and this might have turned to fight winnable if the Zen decided to not trance because it will have broken again to a even numbers fight, which they have. They do have a little more sustain because they have the Brigida and Lucio alive in this fight. So if they take the fight slower, they could still possibly win it. Look, as we can see, the Zenyatta is just sitting in the Mega, and they just completely ignore him for a Zarya who's not really that punishable this far of the distance. As we can see, they're all right here. And I'm not sure where the Lucio is right now, but they're clearly not amping speed considering how slow they're running towards the Zarya. So they're just choosing a really bad target to try and kill right now. Despite Zarya being a hard target priority, there's no point in trying to focus on that if you're gonna lose so many people just trying to kill one person.
Right. And then over on the side of O5 heads, they're just like basically just kiting everyone else.
Yeah, they're just playing a little slow. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Reinhardt died, and then now we have the Brigida just 1v1ing the Zarya. Okay, the Brigida's just full dedicated to killing the Zarya. I mean, this fight's already probably not winnable anymore. This is fine, I guess. This is just focusing on Zarya, finishing your target.
I feel like using the rally to devote themselves to like a losing fight is probably the wrong move here, no? I mean, like, and she's like uses the rally and just throws herself off, and no one's around her anyway.
Yeah.
When she's 1v1ing the Zarya.
Honestly, the sound barrier investment was a little weird, I guess. The sound barrier investment was a little weird. If you want to try and invest defensive votes, you probably want to throw out Zenyatta's first rather than the sound barrier. Considering this is early in the fight and Zarya does not have the grab yet, you can probably just invest a trance first because trance is a lot easier and faster to build compared to a sound barrier. And sound barrier, its value, it goes away once you lose the burst damage. Like if you're just running to chase someone, it's kind of weird to just use a sound barrier. It's a very weird usage of sound barrier. I think trance would have been a better investment if they really just wanted to try and win a fight because trance has infinite value because it's just burst healing while it's much easier to build compared to the Lucio sound barrier.
Now I want to field this question over to Puppy. Puppy, is there anything else you want to add here? Like I feel like this is a little too much for my very small brain to handle, but what would you have done in this situation, say if you were Lightbringer's leftovers? Like if you had control of all 6 players at the same time for any odd reason?
I think I would disagree with the use of trance. I mean, knowing kind of the grab that's coming online, I think I would always be partial to say that the trance should 9 times out of 10 be used in tandem with the grab to maintain that kind of synergy between the two. So aside from that, I mean, I agree with pretty much everything that Tactical said. The initial dive, I think Reader Rabbit was a little bit more protected than maybe we first thought because of the Diva Matrix obviously still hasn't received that nerf at the moment, and she was still stood on the higher ground. So a lot of the kind of like the Zen damage that was coming in was kind of mitigated by, I guess, her defense matrix, which is why we didn't see too much damage coming in. I'm a bit bemused, like you, Tactical, as to where XYS's bubbles was used. God knows, if they had that up, I don't really see too much of an issue of the initial dive. It's a little bit too deep, like you say, but I think it was an interesting play that didn't really get punished. It was interesting to see as to why that was.
But all right. And once again, same question as last time. If we were to sort of distill this entire play down into one, I guess, sort of coachable lesson, would it be aware of your support ults, know when to disengage a fight, and just know who you're focusing?
Well, right here, I think this is more. It goes way more down to the basics of Ghosts. Both teams, they need to be a little more aware of what situations need to be punished and what cannot be punished. As we can see, the Zarya decision to run for a Zarya who's not really out of position and not in a punishable spot from their perspective, because they didn't have amp speed and they were too far off to really punish a Zarya that far away.
Right.
While they chase a Zarya, the other people, they just kind of pile in and just dish out damage from the back and just basically just kill whoever else is running towards the Zarya.
Mhm.
They just need to understand more basic fundamentals of what situations they can punish and what they cannot punish. By understanding what situations they can punish, more people will be on the same page of where to go and what to do. Because if as goats, if you can't really win the basic fights, then you're not really gonna win out in any other goats mirrors, because you need to be able to win out fights that you don't use ultimates. Because once you don't have ultimates, it's very if you're relying on ultimates to win a fight, the other team's just gonna have way better ultimate economy. So even if you
Right.
do have ultimates, if they dish out the same ultimates, it doesn't matter. You need to be able to understand what situations to punish. And in this case, both teams had a very huge mistake that could have easily won them the fight without even investing a single ultimate. But
Yeah.
as we can see, both of those mistakes just went unnoticed by both teams. The monkey jumping in way too deep was an extremely easy punish that should have been noticed by both sides. I assume the break bash was used for maybe like mobility to move an extra few centimeters or something, because it's kind of a very obvious and no-brainer thing to just bash a Winston that's diving this deep into all 6 of you at once alone with not really any support, and they already invest the armor pack, so there's no way this person's getting burst healed.
Mhm. And then over on the side of Lightbringer's leftovers, it's the inability to focus on the Zen, in electing to focus on the Zarya and burning that rally in the process, which puts him at no
Yes,
disadvantage.
I know in
Okay.
third person this looks a little more obvious, but in first person they do need to understand who's better, like in just better situational awareness of who's better to punish, who's in the bad spot, and what they can do to focus on this on certain target, like who's a better target to pick. If they all understand that individually rather than just like calling out like, oh, brick Ryan, they will they'll both come to like a more easier, like they'll come to a faster target decision and just choose to target themselves. Because if you just go purely just by target calling and no one really understands who's easy to punish, who's easy to kill,
Mhm.
you're gonna be on a different page at some point when it gets like very quick and fast paced. Like someone's gonna be shooting a diva, someone's gonna be shooting the Zarya who's probably maybe out of position, but no one else notices the Zarya out of position. Like they have to realize these situations pretty quickly, and they have to make moves on it. Like if you're not confident and you don't move fast enough, goats, it falls apart very quickly, which is why
Right.
in ranked it's kind of the same thing. It falls down pretty quickly once, like, some people just run off and do their own thing.
All right. That was a GOATS masterclass here by Tactical. And Tactical, just before we get into the third clip, I want to ask, you're, to my knowledge, a Grandmaster DPS main, or
No, I don't. No, I mostly play support in
you
GM.
you mainly
For
play support?
DPS,
Okay.
yeah, DPS I've only made into like masters, so
Okay.
unfortunately no. I'm mostly a support in GM. I'm like my
Solid.
peak's like 4.2, I think.
Okay. And how'd you get involved in OWP?
OWP. I don't know. I think I just saw a Reddit post.
All right.
It was,
There you
it's
go.
pretty early.
The classic.
Yeah, it was pretty early in Overwatch Pretenders. It was
Yeah.
just some random Reddit post I ran into.
Yeah. So we have a Grandmaster support, we have a Masters DPS main in Puppy, and we have me. And between all of us, our average is Diamond, and that's up there.
All right.
There you go.
Definitely good enough here.
I mean, hey, it's good enough here. No, I'm just playing. You have a third clip for us. This is one of these long-form GOATS fights. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
All right. Hit us with it.
All right. So let's see. We're gonna be on Rialto on this one. So it's gonna be. This looks like the fight's already started. The clip started when already. Let's see. Okay. So all right. Is there Reinhardt? Okay. All right. The Bubba Diva. Okay, that's fine. Diva's kind of out of position, so it gets some energy. They invest the sound barrier. Very unusual considering I'm not sure what they're trying to do with the sound barrier. Maybe they're trying to play aggressive with it or something, but that was not a very wise decision by Lightbringers, because they will have to force a fight with that sound barrier, and the enemy team is not really too hard engaged in this fight. I mean, look, like maybe like what? There's a Diva, there's a Zarya. Okay, that's like about it. they invested sound barrier, but they can't really capitalize on the value of the sound barrier.
Mhm.
If they're trying to play aggressively with it, they have to really use it in a fight where both teams are invested in it, and they just can't disengage like that. Look, O5 has just does a smart decision to disengage, and they just kind of avoid any further losses or damage. They can capitalize with the sound barrier. And look, Lightbringers, they have to force to retreat because the sound barrier is already down, it's gone. So very, that was not really good use of sound barrier if they wanted to use it aggressively. They could use it aggressively, but you will have to use it more in a situation where both teams are already in the fight. They're too deep in to back out of a fight, and that was not a situation where both teams were too deep in the fight. But then,
Yeah.
strangely enough, Lightbringers didn't really have anyone too low aside from D.Va. D.Va does. I don't think it was to save D.Va I was about to get out of the mech, because the D.Va already popped out of the mech before Lucia decided to invest the sound barrier, which is unusual.
Mhm.
So they will be down as defensive of this fight, which is actually huge.
I think that Lightbringers was like kind of like itchy to use as many ultimates as they could, just because like the payload is so close to the point, and so they know that, oh, if they let up any sort of aggression, then they're going to lose that point, and O5 Heads is going to take Rialto.
Yeah, that's actually very good insight. It was probably just the panic, due to the cart being so close, and D.Va was getting out of mech, so it was probably just a panic from Lucio. But another thing in goes is that you don't really want to like force yourself to use ults as an engagement. Like you don't want to just say, oh yeah, let's just run in and just do a grab bomb, because what you're doing by doing that, you're enforcing a mindset that you're just gonna invest ults to win fights, when like when it comes to the situation where you don't have ults, like it's gonna be very hard for you. You need to be able to run fights normally and capitalize on punishments and bubbles that go wasted, like ability cooldowns and stuff like that. You need to be able to punish on those rather than just forcing your team to, okay, this fight we're just gonna just hard engage with just run in and just grab and bomb. That's something you really want to do. You kind of want to try and make them trip up and make mistakes, and that's easily punished by your team, rather than just sometimes as like a last resort, or maybe like you already like maybe it's last fight or something. Okay, yeah, just burn those ults, I guess. But like in a normal situation, goats versus goats, you don't want to just like hard invest and like hard invest your ultimates like initially, like as a plan. Okay, we're just gonna run in and grab bomb. Like you can make like a plan to like what you're gonna do. Like, hey, I'm gonna around this corner, I'm gonna hold around this corner. Lucio, we're gonna amp speed, we're gonna bash this Brian, and we're gonna shatter. But like that's okay. Like that's just that's fine. But if you're investing like 2 ultimates like that, it does hurt you in the long run, because because let's say you invested those 2 ults as a hard engagement, you're burning 2 ultimates when the enemy team is not going to use any ultimates at all. They're gonna be, oh, okay, whatever. We could just lose this fight and just come back for the next fight, and we'll be up to 2 ultimates already. That's gonna be easy fight for them to win, especially since it's card last. Like if O5 has just continues to bait out ultimates like that, they're gonna win. They can easily just make a fight where they all press their ultimates and they can't do anything about it because they wasted their ultimates just using it like for aggressiveness or to try and win a fight very quickly.
I was about to say that O5 Heads has like this really big resource in their time bank that they can just afford to burn a lot.
Also, as like defensive team too, you don't really need to hard engage with like a fast engage with like a ultimates to wipe them quickly, because you're on the defending side. It's on the attacking team to try to make use of the time bank. You're not the one on the time. If they don't want to like push in, or they're too scared to move in, just let them be like that. It's fine. They're wasting time. They're gonna have to move in eventually. You're a defending team. You're doing good already. You're burning off the time bank already, just by if they don't want to engage with it. So you don't really want to do that.
Right.
Okay, so alright, so O5 Heads is moving in. They're gonna invest a grab in it. I'm assuming they're gonna do grab bomb. Okay, so a grab bomb. Okay, so alright, so 3 seconds. So grab bomb, tried to wipe, but it wasn't really done in a very good spot. And
yeah, they tried to stun the Ryan there, and you can see the cracks in his shields. They were really trying to focus it down.
Yeah, they were trying to focus down, but also the thing is the D.Va bomb placement was pretty bad. As when you do a grab bomb combo, you want to throw bombs either right on top of the Reinhardt or very like directly right next to the Reinhardt. Because once the grab ends, people usually look to CC or like force like soft CC with like a boop, whiplash, bash, something to boop them or the Reinhardt out of position so that your bomb gets gets free kills.
Yes, the
timing was
Vancouver
decent.
Titans maneuver.
Yes, the timing was pretty decent from the O5 heads because when you grab, you want to wait like 1 second or two so that your grab expires first, and then
Mhm.
your team is allowed to follow up with any sort of Lucio boop, break bash, or like any sort of like movement that forces them out of position, and the bomb would result in an instant wipe for anyone who
Right.
caught out of position. Because when you throw the Diva bomb right on top or like right next to them, it gets placed in a very weird spot for the Reinhardt. So if they mess up even the slightest shield placement, someone or either the entire team dies and the Reinhardt is left alone. But if you throw it like all the way in the back where it's in a clear spot of where you need to block, it's very easy for everyone on their team to block it. Like Reinhardt just needs to turn the shield 180. That's all, and everyone on the team knows where
Mhm.
to run to too. So they just need to walk forward, and Reinhardt needs to block it. That's fine. But if you throw it on top, everyone's gonna go on a different page. And also, if you add in CC to it, it's basically just a forced wipe. It's a very coordinated wipe like that. And this is actually very huge too because the break bash was a little late.
Mhm.
I'm not sure why it was late. I can see the O5 heads use their grab so that the Reinhardt couldn't charge. That's understandable. But the Brigida and Lucio, from what I understand, they are not caught in this grab. So
Right.
these two are the like major components to try and make a grab bomb an instant wipe. But I assume the follow up was a little late or the timing was late, so they didn't get to follow up on it because the grab bomb timing was pretty decent. By throwing your Diva bomb like 1 second later, the grab expires so that you're allowed to soft CC them out away from each other for the
Mhm.
bomb to wipe, which was good timing. Bomb placement was very questionable, but the follow up wasn't there either, so it was an easy block from Lightbringers to just block this grab bomb combo. And as we can see, the Zarya messed up her bubble too. She bubbled a trancing Zenyatta, who's already invincible from it. So if the break just timed her bash a little more, or just played a little more aggressively with it, it would have been an instant wipe right here.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, so they make it out alive because the grab on place was a little off. I mean, we get a huge shatter. Okay, it's fine. All right, huge DM right there. DM was not
Whoops.
to peel enough for the Reinhardt to live, but it was unfortunate because I did notice the Zarya was reloading in the middle of this. As you can see, that's why the Reinhardt didn't die. Yeah, the Zarya was reloading in the middle of this, so they could not follow up enough damage to kill the Reinhardt, who was really low. This was a very nice shatter. It caught like 3 of them. Devo was able to DM a lot of the damage, but it was mostly the Zarya just reloading that really just messed them up right here. It was a very unfortunate timing for the Zarya to start reloading right now when you needed the unblockable damage that was unblockable from defense matrix, because with that extra laser damage that would have easily melted the Reinhardt, and this shatter would not have happened. So you would probably have won the fight, but it was just very unfortunate timing. I don't know if it was just ran out of ammo or just decided to reload at that time, but very unfortunate. So right after that, we do get a huge shatter, and they do get wiped. I'm assuming because they don't have defensive nothing really to protect themselves, so it's probably easy wipe. One thing I do want to point out is that the Lightbringer's leftover shatter did cancel out the sound barriers, so if they just did have a little extra faster follow up, this would have been an easy wipe, where the Lightbringers could have easily full hold because both teams had invested nearly every single ult they had in the arsenal. So
Right.
just that one small mistake, and it was an easy wipe for them. Yeah, see, okay, so they're just gonna start falling one by one now. They have no defensive ult to recover from that. Okay, yeah,
Interesting. I didn't realize that much micro went into that much
Oh,
goats play, but I mean
yeah,
it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Ghost, it's not very fun to watch or anything, but because this thing really gets looked under the radar, and then all it just looks like it's just like one death ball just running against another death ball until one of them dies, and all you see is like ultimates going off, and you don't really see anything happening. It's not very entertaining to watch. When it goes to the small stuff though, it gets very complicated, and it really burns out people very quickly because of the amount of comms you need in goats like this. Yeah, it's just very comm heavy.
Interesting. Okay. If you were to distill this entire clip down into one clip, or into one, once again, sort of teachable, actionable lesson, would it be be aware of your cooldowns or know how to grab bomb properly? The idea that like you're looking to displace this Reinhardt as much as possible, or how would you go about handling that situation?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Like what you just mentioned, I would definitely if this was a lesson, it would rather just be ultimate usage, how to just get your basic combos down. And then when you fail grab bombs, I mean, it could be unfortunate circumstances, but for a situation like that, that was just clearly from a lack of follow-up, or they didn't have the proper CC there to try and get easy wipe. Just either the Brig or the Lucio, they were not grabbed in, so they were capable of following up. They just didn't. Brig tried to, but she didn't play aggressively enough. I assumed the Brigida was waiting for the Reinhardt to turn to block it, but why do that when you can just rush the Reinhardt and force him to block in certain directions? Like if you're right into Reinhardt's face, like he has to block the bash, so he has to turn the shield to try and block the Brigida. And this maybe there's like a Lucio waiting for the grab to end for a boot. Like the Brig was waiting for the Reinhardt to turn, which you really don't want to. You could, but like it makes it more easier for the Reinhardt to block it, because they just need to turn it for like 1 second. It doesn't matter if you bash it after. If your timing just slightly off for the bash, it's done. You fail to grab bomb combo. But if you have rally and you're running up to this Reinhardt's face, you can force them to turn the shield in certain directions because they don't want to get bashed. And if they mess up the shield placement, they will get bashed, and that grab bomb's an instant wipe. Grab bomb is usually one of those combos that results in like easy wipes, because it usually picks off 1 or 2 people, like I mentioned earlier. With the grab, you always want to time it so that your bomb goes like 1 second later compared to the graviton, so that it can expire first, so you can soft CC. It's understandable that the Reinhardt couldn't follow up because the Ryan and Zarya got grabbed, so they couldn't do a pin charge, which is the most really common thing you see in a grab combo. But the other people, which was Lucio and Brigida, they didn't do the necessary maneuvers to try and make it so that the grab bomb was an easy wipe for them. Like, did you see? They could have 05 heads. They could have possibly lost this because they messed up the grab bomb combo. So ultimate usage like this, you need to understand you have to increase your chances as much as possible so that you actually wipe them when you invest these ults. Because if Lightbringers did not waste the sound barrier earlier and they had it now, they could have easily won this fight because the 05 heads were down all their ultimates already after the grab bomb combo. So that sound barrier would have kept them alive for the rest of the fight and possibly won them the fight. And then both teams will be having no ult after that. So if you invest that many ults and you lose, it's very troublesome for Ghost, because if the other team is up in ultimate economy, it is very hard to even win after that. It's usually starts snowballing from there.
All right. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for laying it out like that. Puppy, anything to add?
So yeah, I think one thing that I sort of noticed after the sort of usage of Lightbringer's sound barrier early on into the fight is you're kind of looking at your other support then to kind of come up clutch with a decent trans. And I used it in the grab, which normally I would say that is 100% correct. But if you look at the immediate threat, and if you think about it, if they communicated a little bit better, if Lightbringers knew that they were going to use their grab to kind of prevent a lot of this incoming damage coming in from like the Reinhardt Zarya and everything like that, do they really need to invest their Zenyatta ult into that grab? Do they really need to, especially if they're down like a sound barrier? They could have potentially looked to hold on to that Zenyatta, so the Transcendence, because I mean the only immediate threat there in terms of damage was the bomb, and Trans is not going to help you with that. Only Beat can really help you with that, and you haven't got that utility. So whether or not he'd use that Transcendence later, we may have seen a different fight in that.
That's a good point. That's definitely a good point, because it is very unusual to just randomly invest the grab too. I mean, it's okay because they can't follow up, but that is a very true point, because they didn't really have much follow-up damage from what I saw too, because it was just a Lucio Brigida. The Zarya got caught in the grab too, so there's no way she can follow up with damage either. So there's really only the threat of D.Va, Brigida, and Lucio. So that is a good point. They really don't have a lot of follow-up damage, but as this is probably just just those reactions, those natural reflexes of Zen to just pop the trance, because when you gotta pop it when the grab comes out. But I guess they didn't expect the Zarya to throw out grab too, especially since I don't think they had the combo at that time. I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Yeah, I don't think they. Okay, let's see. Did they try to throw the combo too? No. Okay, no. They didn't. They did not have a combo.
I think they instead elected to shatter and see if they could follow up on the shatter.
So yeah, it was definitely a weird choice. You do mention that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
You never want to grab Shatter because those are the two ultimates which kind of win you fights. If you throw them out both at the same fight, unless it's like a last fight or something like that, you're putting your team in a very very bad spot if you decide to both invest both Shatter and grab when it's not like last fight, because those two ultimates you really need to try and win fights. If you're throwing them out both at the same time, you have no sort of CC ultimate, and it's very easy for the other team to capitalize on that and just win fights.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. That was, once again, the 05 Heads and Lightbringers leftover game. You know, really broken down by Tactical, teaching us a little bit about goats, a little bit about focus firing, and knowing, when to take battles and when to disengage. Tactical, the floor is yours. Anything you want to promote, now's the time to do it. Go ahead.
Not really, no. I don't have nothing much to promote.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to break down this game for us. And what's next for you? I haven't seen you too much around OWP. What are you up to these days?
Oh yeah, I've mostly just been focusing on studying. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So I haven't really been playing much either. So yeah.
Well, in any case, good luck to you in whatever you're doing. I hope your summer's eventful. Like, do you have any fun plans for Father's Day? All right. Tactical?
Nothing planned.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Nothing fun. Well,
Yeah, nothing planned.
all right. Well, in any case, thank you again. Good luck. And hey, we'd love to have you back on the pod again sometime. Take care.
All right, thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thanks.
Alrighty. Once again, that was Tactical. And just as we're wrapping up the podcast, we have a couple of highlights this week, so we're just getting those underway. In the meantime, any questions you have for our next guest analyst, feel free to, post it in the Twitch chat below. We'll get it. Any questions you have for Tactical? Anything like that, we'll make sure we get it to him. Uno momento. Por favor. And whooshy whoosh transition. We're here. Our first highlight is over from Welsh Kiwi. Oh. It's also frozen. You know what? We're just going to refresh this page, see what happens. There we go. And that's a great grab bomb shatter, taking out 5 on Rialto.
Huge. They got the Ryan dancing afterwards. Love it.
Yeah. This one right here is
Emoji.
Cosmo on Doomfist. And this seems like a ranked game to me. I don't recognize any of these names as Overwatch Pretenders names. He does get a quick 5 kill and straight up stops the point almost single-handedly. What a guy. Doomfist is one of those characters I just don't get, like, at all.
I hate playing against him. I absolutely hate playing against him. He's such a pump stomper when you don't have people that pick heroes against him,
Yeah,
like,
right.
or something like that, or a road hog. Just any kind of CC would do fine.
I see an Orisa, I see a Mei. Maybe they're playing the Clockwork Vendetta comp, and Doomfist is just all, it's taking them all over. Next one, another bomb over by Welsh Kiwi. That's also frozen once more. This one breaks bunker on Hollywood.
Run away. Oh, nice.
That's surprising. I'm surprised that Welsh didn't get hit by the other Diva bomb. I think the Orisa just put down the shield just in time. That's what it looks like. What a highlight. This next one's over by Eidolon. The people from Suya said he's an okay Pharah. Let's see what he has in store for us. This is during the SSL game. Yeah. Gets a nice triple +1.
Oh, that poor Lucio.
That poor Lucio. This one's gonna be Hothead. Hey, we saw him today. Also on fire, this time on Paris. What is that reticle? always like really solid fire plays. Those are always really fun to see. Once again, if you have any highlights, be sure to get them to your team rep. They'll get them to us. This one is an XYS 1v3 here on here on Sombra, looks like. Sombra gets unstealthed, but ends up really camping that health pack, even though she's hacked. Gets Iluvatar, gets Tranquil, and ends up taking out Tegu as he uses Tag Visor. Oh my goodness.
Oh my lord.
XYS.
What a play.
XYS nearly single-handedly won them that point, especially when Jangles recently gets Hobbs. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Look at those. Those are all of the clips. We have 40 today. Once again, if you have any highlights, get them to us. We'll be sure to get them on the podcast. Welsh. Oh my god. Wait, hold. Is Welsh Costanza? Am I dumb? Is that a small brain play of me? Maybe, maybe not. Well, in any case. In any case, let's check confession box. I feel like that's like the next logical thing to do. Let's see if anyone spread any juice today. Once again, confession box. If you know where it is, hey, go submit something that you don't want to say in person, and we'll be sure to say it for you. 05 is going bye-bye. Maybe, maybe not. What I do know is going bye-bye is Scribble. Because to my knowledge, they're going on vacation. They won't be able to play for 05 heads, known as the Flex DPS Brig Jail player for people. And another person says we should have a fantasy draft tournament. Captains draft players from the league to play in a quick tournament, like 8 teams in upper and lower. That'd be interesting, you know, just make everyone a free agent again and start drafting. That'd be really exciting. Pack just sent me a highlight that says Costanza gets dunked on. Let's crack this open. And once again, Pack and Cheese, if you don't know who Pack and Cheese is, he's one of the pug leaders. Be sure to check out Pugs. They happen all the time. You know, there's a role if you want to get pinged for them. It'll be a good time, you know. I've always had a fun time when I'm over there. They do like to roast you just a little bit though, right? They're a lot like older brothers. Well, they'll roast the hell out of you, but then they'll be like, "Hey, we're glad you're here. Let's get this one clip that Pack sent me. I want to see Costanza get dunked on. I hope everyone else does too."
Who doesn't want to see Costanza get?
Who doesn't want to see Costanza get dunked on? Let's get this going. Boop. Whooshy whoosh transitions. They've been on point today. Wonder Socks is Anna.
Wonder Socks.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's such a nasty sleep.
Oh. He got shattered afterwards as well.
So
teabag as well.
So he got slept, shattered, and then the Ana shot him, and then he got charged, which is ridiculous.
Oh.
I have to see this one more time. Pack, is this you? Well, like is this one of your alt? Is Wonder Socks Pack and Cheese? Can someone tell me? Oh my goodness.
Where's the dash up? Still healing too.
I was about to say, if there's no dash up, I mean, listen, I'm not gonna say you deserved it, but if you play stupid games, you're gonna win stupid prizes.
That's not how we play video games.
That's not how we play video games. Well, in any case, that's around all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Just some last closing notes. Unknown Academy versus Lightbringer's Legacy is going to be today at a 8 o'clock. Lower division people, please pay attention to that poll. Upper division players, please play those games if you haven't done so already. The art contest is having an extension. We're Four Bears and Puppy. This is the Pretenders podcast. Oh my goodness, it's always a joy to be part of this thing every Sunday, and that's not sarcasm. It's actually a fun time. And thanks so much for always being here. In any case, I'm just trying to stall for time until I find this goodbye screen. There we go. Goodbye. Have a great Father's Day, and hey, we'll see you next week. enjoy week 6 of Lower Division.
Bye.
Bye.